Savage, I'm afraid your 1 minute is up. Mrs. Shaiti.
Thank you very much. Mr. Trump keeps repeating that we are somehow out of touch. I just want to remind him it wasn't our responsibility to be in touch with these issues. It was his responsibility and the responsibility of the representative of Serekunda at that time to be on these issues and to have these issues fixed. If they are still not fixed, when elected, it will become my responsibility to get it done. But unfortunately, as it is now, the bridge is not fixed, and that is where we are. We've had several times about World Bank projects, but if you do not follow up these projects and hold those responsible accountable, some of them never come into fruition, and that is the reality. All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't answer
Mr. Shah, you can't have all day. Mr. Shah,
after making numerous follow-ups.
Mr. Shah, so we can one more time, one more opportunity. Because, we're really running out of time, and we want to accommodate, our audience who maybe don't understand or speak English. Yes, so you have a minute to respond to both of them, quickly.
Quickly.
You have a minute. We're giving you a minute.
Yes. Like he rightly said, when the former National Assembly member of Serekunda raised those issues, I made follow-ups. And the director of National Roads Authority is the one who told me this information. So which means that follow-ups have been made. So when I get to the National Assembly, I will also see to it that these things have been done.
So regarding the roads, the road you were talking about, the road, yes. This is the one that Mr. Savage was talking about.
Why? Because we are just from the rainy season. You understand? And everybody knows. He rightly said that when the rain comes, most of the roads, they are eroded. So this is why you cannot see it. That's why we even stopped that road rehabilitation program and venture into street lightning programs.
When did you do this road rehabilitation you're talking about?
People Garden Junction and Narek Junction.
When exactly?
It's like 6 months ago. And then, I happened to get some of the gravels from the director of NRA. The road that he is saying was the diversion created by the National Roads Authority.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cham. So we switch over to the local language. And at this point, you're free to speak a language of your choice.
First of all, before my news related, I would like to answer Mr. Cham the issue he raised about Section 112. I think Mr. Cham, loan is not a corruption, but Section 112 li ma wax mooy nga am député mu def corruption ba mënu la represent nga am député mu accept bribery. The entire civil service from judge down, minister ñëpp have access to these loans. You are going to pay it back. Te bu parliament bi li ci gën a neex mooy parliament at the end of your term you paid your gratuity. All loans are tied to the gratuity. There is no way government will lose on it. Instead government dafa make profit on this loan. Then by this time fund be grown. Te li ma wax député yi ko voted on yëpp probably because Yakuma Jayte moo ko raise, including Mom, Deputy Serekunda bi woon, all of them didn't raise an eyebrow when it came back inside the budget. Really, so it has nothing to do with that. Decent people take loans. Gambia yëpp fii gisoon nañ ko social security nit yi dañ leen doon jox loon ñuy fay ndànk civil service ba ñëpp xam nañ the pay you have as a civil servant, as a public servant. So these are the reasons. These things have to be in place for every institution to guard the integrity of the institution. Te loolu laa si jublu woon. Ñaareel bi ñu ñëw si how am I going to represent my people? The first thing you do, I think as a parliamentarian, is to establish a constituency office. Loolu dafa war a am. So people dañ war a am fuñ laa ñëw fekk fuñ laa ñëw nit fuñ mun a yóbbu seen lu leen naxari ñu probably binda ko bàyyi ko fa. Second, to work with all people responsible, be it the WDCs, the local government, to liaise with them, be having quarterly meetings. Because Parliament, we sit quarterly sessions unless there is an emergency. So before session, it should be my responsibility to go back to my electorate, town hall meetings, any small meetings, and ask them, lan moy sen soxla lu ma wara raise Parliament. This is one way that boo mun a represent the people. Why office bi moom, we have a constituency allowance, dañ ko dee am. It's for you to establish office. office run sa office bi and pour nga mun a jokkoo ak sa nit yi inside Serekunda.
jërëjëf Mrs. Chaite so fi mu nekk Mr. Cham non ku nekk nga laaj sa morom loo ko mun ci bëgg a laaj léegi dañu ubbi line si 5050 505 5050 505 this is for all of you lii pour yéen ñëpp la su dee yàlla wërsëgal na leen ngeen falu ak ku mun ci doon ci yéen naka ngeen a fas yéene liggéey ak seen nit ñi we talking about representation now naka ngeen a jokkoo ak ñoom pour gis ne lépp loo xam ne la ñoo joytu di ngeen ko aagal fi mu war a aagal mu di parlement mu njëkkee ko si Mr. Cham.
waaw dafa am lu ñoo ooyee Ward Development Committee da nga am also sub Ward Development Committee mooy di BDCs ñoo dee toog out of every BDC dañoo select members ñoo constitute Ward Development Committee ñu identify their community needs and priorities su ko defee being the National Assembly member di nga work ak ñooñu di nga liggéey ñooñu nga xam these issues su ko defee yooyu noonu di nga ko yóbbu to the National Assembly you can either channel it through the the select committees ak yooyu noonu ba pare dafa mel ni loolu waxtu yi ma jox xawut a bëri li ma bëgg a wax mooy
rules yi lañ la koy soxla
waaye your rules doesn't apply to others.
Well, of course. Just a follow up quickly balaa maa dem si Mr. Ba quickly so follow it tamit ñaata hours maybe a week or how many times a week bi or si month bi ngay buddi nit ak sa constituency.
loolu pour ma mita the entire constituency of Serekunda.
Tudda nga committee.
waaw committee si
waaw
mooy waxtu bu ngay amee meetings for months what feelee like pour am ñu oote a meeting I can write to the secretary su ko defee moom kii he can convene a meeting.
ok
ba pare dafa am leen lu ma bëggoon a wax si wàcc si jëmale ko suma sister.
Mrs.
Mrs. Jaike. Yes. moom legal mind la am na lu section 112 bi
lan la wax
mu ne all servants all members of the National Assembly shall regard themselves as servants of the people of the Gambia and shall desist from any conduct to seek to improperly enrich themselves or alienate themselves from the people.
lan nga jublu si loolu Mr. Cham
mooy ne mu ngi wax ne rëccuwut that's $54 million loan scheme boobu gars yi puusoon foofu yaa ngi
lan moo si nekk sa gis-gis yow
waaw mooy ne yaa ngi taw yow waaye nit yi nga represent mu ngi wax waxi local council si xam ne local council si dañu war a am subvention from the central government and $54 million is almost equal to the percentage of that subvention to the councils yaa ngi understand so moom xeexu ko yaa ngi ñëw youth yaa ngi wax fii ne youth yaa ngi wax ñu fii youth and sport ministry of youth and sports ñoo ngi wax ñu fi rules the decentralization and devolution of powers boobu war naa happen through that so di nga gis ne man suma experience as a councillor and knowing my local government act suma demee that experience dina ma mun a jox place
15 seconds dama
dina jox place ma nekk ci local government regional government select committee bi so through that dinañ through serving my oversight function to the minister of
ñu ma xamal ne waxtu buñ la appal jeex na
waaye yaa ko doon jox ñeneen ñi
dina la may opportunity Mr. Cham ñëpp a em rules rek la ñoo toppa ñu jégal si loolu Mr. Ba waaw how naka nga liggéey ak sa nit ñi naka nga buli jokkoo ak ñoom su dee falu
waaw ñun naka la doon liggéey ak nit ñi dafa yomba ñun xale yaa am énergie bi te yàlla si boppam sax dafa wax si courant bi ni indil leen ma xale yi ñoom laa soxla so ñun ñoo nekk di laajte mooy ñun suñu boppam liggéey ak nit ñi fu mu nekk nii nit ñi waa Serekunda gis nañu ñun woo di time li ngi foofu noonu liggéey ak booy yi te seetal suñu yéen si koom suñu clean ay baabel du ci koom wax yi west du ci koom ñun yaa yut
waaye naka nga jokkoo ak ñoom
is organisation ñun buñ bala loo duggati si biir parliamentary we form a Serekunda development drive loolu association boo xamante ne we work with the people of Serekunda
naka la mel naka la comité bi ndax ñi nekk biir Serekunda yëpp ñu fa maanaam bu nekk si biir Serekunda
ñëpp bu nekk nii waaw yow si nekk nii yëpp ñu fa dafa dem nañ commune bu nekk bu dem nii ne ko yow wax mairie ubbi neen Serekunda Development Drive because one of the problems that we identify in Serekunda moo nekk dafa disorganized. So ñun we came with the Serekunda Development Drive ñu write a project because ñun nekkuñu based on funds yi pour development ci government bi. We are project writers. We will write projects with NGOs in phone you do. Right now, we have 23,000 in organization program this Serekunda school. We have 23,000. What Serekunda Lumati, I can call it the program. So we will work with the people in that. You don't work again. We work with.
Even though am nga ñu doon liggéey ak ndaw yi def nañ lii lan exactly nga def loo xam ne tey mën nga koo gëstu joxuñ ko baax ne man maa fi def lii wala bokk naa suñu kii lii biir Serekunda.
Ok man right now maa ngi liggéey ak nit ñi si business comme ni ma la ko waxee maa ngi amee foundation boo xamante ne is called Jumtuka Foundation nekkul ñu nekk Serekunda kese nekkul ñu nekk Serekunda kese na ko liggéey liggéey youth right now maa ngi am a foundation bi
Mrs. Chaite so don't introduce a private members bill yang fa woon yow yang fa woon lan moo si nekkoon sa taxawaay.
Okay, the introduction of private members bill was one thing I couldn't achieve in the 5th legislature, and I would definitely work on it with the experience I have in the 6th legislature if I get to be elected. And one of my priority bills would be that would have impact directly on the lives of the people of Serekunda would be an amendment of the Local Government Act. The Local Government Act to make sure council have the independence required to carry out certain activities. Actually, the Local Government Present Act now, it is saying after, because it was enacted in 2002, after a period of 15 years, council, the executive, therefore, want to devolve certain powers to them because they have both administrative and executive powers in that administrative area. That still is not achieved. There are a lot of things in the Act, the council, and because of my experience, we have gone through this new ministry several times. They will tell us they're not up to validation, we are waiting. So we were of the belief they had the intention to bring it. Knowing what I know now, I know if it is not brought through a private member's bill, it will do musa hell. So going to Luma, bill, I think the word should be in the bill. Because in the bill, modest support being the difficulty of National Assembly for bill be passed. The second most important issue, I think, for the people of Serekunda and the entire Gambia is the issue of the Public Order Act. Several times people want to demonstrate about their rights against and the responsibilities of government. IGP, they reject that because our Public Order Act requires that you seek a permit. In all other developing countries and in already developed countries, what you need to do is just give a notice, you offer the security. And this goes to the root of democracy for people to have freedom of expression, for you express another thing, which is not a bill, but which I would advocate for. How the cost of living is getting higher and higher. And I believe if there was enough investment in agriculture, 15% of our budget a minimum goes to agriculture. Rights field. Gambia. These are the things I would advocate for.
Bala madam si Mr. Kamara, yow yaay woon in parliament am nga fa jot yàlla wërsëgal na la nekkaloon ko for the past parliament bi almost ñeenti at daanaka dëgg la nekkaloo fa woon Serekunda même member nga woon tey soo doon gëstu gannaaw lan moo nekk sa achievement ci jamono bi nga fa nekkee lan nga mën a ndamoo tey.
Okay, ñëpp xam nañ the first achievement I made for Parliament and for the entire Gambia mooy to guarantee the independence of the most important institute in the Gambia, which is the National Assembly, and also to restore the faith the Gambian people lost in the judiciary with the case we have to
restore the independence of National Assembly. Lan nga min ci loolu.
Li ma wax mooy maa doon ñëw si keesi yaa ko Kumba Jayte Basote Attorney General ñëpp xam nañ ne man Barrow moo ma nominate woon ma dem Parliament 2 years into it mu decide pour daaxama te he had no powers to do so te loolu su ma ko alaawoon mu dem rek gis nañ ko fi si nguuri Yaay Jammeh speaker bi sax daf leen daan daaxa te loolu is direct interference with the executive in the National Assembly. Loolu su amoon institution bi du musa am génnaal respect am du musa am independence. I decided parliament to fight this case. For 11 months, mangi them out of parliament. Why I didn't want Gambia to go back to where we are. I wanted to mold this newfound democracy. Mayobu that matter court, and I did that for the entire Gambia.
Young introduction bill. The one at the court.
Okay.
And then you reject it. Was it?
No, that was not a bill.
Not one bill.
No.
Actually,
The interesting thing is, it was a loan proposal that I proposed in Parliament, and the court didn't reject it because they felt it wasn't right. It was rejected based on the fact that they felt the procedure was not correct. And interestingly so,
at the end of the day, it was still rejected.
Wow, but last year budget, this the same loan proposal was there, was increased, and all the parliamentarians that didn't vote for it didn't say a word. Now it's there for any one of us who rule in Parliament, and they will get the benefits of the law, because this is something that the entire civil service has, which Parliament gives to them, and I felt it's necessary to protect the dignity of parliamentarians by giving them the necessary things they need to serve.
Okay, just one final question. Si jamono bi nga nekkee in Parliament, ndax am na benn bill boo xamante ne yow vote na against it ak lan la?
Wow, I can't remember off my head, but I think there are a lot of, not bills per se, maybe I would say supplementary appropriation bill, it's a bill, because the main thing I felt that wasn't right, not what is contained in the supplementary appropriation bill, but the procedure again. The law requires that before expenditure is made, in the supplementary appropriation bill, why the Ministry of Finance, particularly Mambrinjai, I guess the DPP Martin, all the time they make expenditures and then bring the bill to Parliament for us to approve. Lolo damo ko here Parliament. And I guess
local government amendment bill. I'm a vote on against bill.
Which local government amendment?
Local government amendment bill.
Wow, the local government amendment bill, which allowed the yes, that one I voted strongly against that bill.
Why?
Because I believe the people that brought you to Parliament, so anyways, that are on a ticket of a party, we made a choice to go independent. If you come on the ticket of a party, then the responsibility, then come on maintain. So take in a the member of the party, you've got to resign. You're free to resign. Let them how independent. Why you cannot hop on someone's back, okay,
let me move on to Mr. Camara, Balanyo Ubi lines, because we're going to have communication we have opportunity to call people letter one bugan ko letter was a million to call bugun maybe compliment or make a comment. It's for questions, please. Mr. Camara, say so I'm an opportunity to introduce bill, a private member's bill. Sidan Lamoneka.
Well, Pullman, I think you know what I have. Lumanica is my anti-corruption bill. So now, you know one yip.
Thank you. I'll touch on the problems the people of Serekunda themselves have raised with me during the house-to-house engagement that I've been having so far. And one of them is the issue of the Serekunda hospital, the one in the Sandika. The fact that the maternity ward, as promised by government, is still yet to be built. So right now, the women of Serekunda, when they want to have their babies, they have to go all the way to the Serekunda hospital in Kanifing. This is one issue they've raised with me, and this is one issue I intend to raise with Parliament, follow it up, and make sure it is done when I get elected. The other issue the residents of London Corner raised is the issue of the bridge. I went there myself, and I saw the bridge myself, and it's in a terrible condition. I was informed that last year someone lost his life at the bridge trying to cross during the rainy season. The water overflows. This is one issue as well that I intend to raise in Parliament and make sure it gets fixed. Just today before I got here, the issue of the recreation center of a park for the people of Serekunda and the youth, the football park, was raised by the residents of Barkel. And this is something they want to be fixed. And also, the issue of the Sandika, the congestion of the Sandika was raised by the women. The suggestion was that they want to turn the Sandika into a recreational park and move the market. The issue of the Maustengela market as well being brought up to standard for the people of Serekunda. I think these are the issues they've raised with me so far, and these are the issues I intend to raise in Parliament and follow those responsible to make sure it gets fixed.
Thank you, Ms. Jayden. Mr. Kamara, let's move on to Ms. Jayden now. You also did raise some very important issues as well. You mentioned the lack of the maternity ward at the hospital. You mentioned the bridge at London Corner, the lack of football park, of course, decongesting the Sandika as well. You were in Parliament as a nominated member. Now you're contesting on the party ticket. If elected into office, again, how do you intend to go about addressing some of these issues you've highlighted?
Thank you. One of the main jobs of a parliamentarian is called representation. And in representation, your job as a parliamentarian is to go into the House and make sure the voices of the people you are representing is heard. That is the job. If my people want the maternity ward at Serekunda to be fixed, it would be my responsibility to address this at Parliament through the Minister of Health. At the last Parliament debate, he mentioned that work is ongoing to fix the maternity ward, and it is almost done. What is on the ground is different from what he said. When I get back, we summon the Minister to come and answer why the maternity ward at Serekunda is yet to be completed. This is the role of a parliamentarian. A parliamentarian cannot directly do development to a certain extent, but what your role is to influence development by raising the issues of your constituency in Parliament. And the same with the London Corner Bridge. A maternity ward would be costly, but the London Corner Bridge, I was going to ask Mr. It is the same issue as Mr. Cham is the Councillor of London Corner until recently, and the issue of the bridge has been raised. This is something that I would have summoned the council itself and asked them why the bridge is not being fixed. What is the problem? Is it financial or whatever it is, we take it from there. And luckily, last year, for the first time in the history of Parliament, we have what is called the Constituency Development Fund. This is a minimum amount of 300,000, which you get every year. If I'm supposed to be giving this one, I go back to the people of Serekunda and ask them, what is your priority? Where do you want us to put the money in? And I'm hoping they would say the bridge, because I'm really concerned about the bridge. And this amount of money, I believe, can fix the bridge after the assessment is done. These are the ways I intend to represent the people of Serekunda, raise their voices, and follow up on the issues to make sure whether executive is responsible or local government, they get done. That is my role.
Thank you, Mr. Jayden. Mr. Ward don't have any representative. How do you respond to that? You have a minute to respond to each of them. Each 1 minute, so 3 minutes.
For Mr. Dean, Mr. Savage,
Yes.
This tells me that he doesn't understand how council works. Resigning from the council doesn't mean that we don't have a representation. We have an active WDC, which he didn't know how it was constituted. As a councillor, you cannot constitute the WDC. I think that is clear now. For my sister here, she has shown us that she is out of touch with the constituents of Serekunda, because everyone has seen our 10th member of parliament raising those questions, asking the Minister of Works about the 2 bridges. And he answered that during the visit. And in fact, the design is ready, and they are just waiting for the dredging and expanding of the water trench, which World Bank has, the Ministry of Work has secured grant from World Bank to do that job. That is why the bridges are not fixed. We even extended to the other side of Tipakunda so that it can facilitate the free flow of vehicles and decongest the traffic in Serekunda.
Okay. Okay, you want to respond to that?
I would like to respond. And I think it's important that my responsibility as a parliamentarian for the Serekunda constituency, like I said, will not only be to raise the issues of Serekunda about the bridge. It would be my job.
But what I'm saying is...
Now, can I please respond? Allow her. It would be my responsibility as their representative to follow up on the Ministry of Work to make sure this is done. If they tell me this last year and it is not done until this year, I'm sitting as a member of the committee, summon them or raise questions on why it is still yet to be done. This is coming straight from the people of Serekunda, and as of now, what he is saying could be possible, but right now it is yet to be fixed, and until I go back, if it is not fixed, I have to raise it with the Ministry of Work, follow it up to make sure it is done. That is the job of a representative.
Yes. Can I have a thing? London Corner is not being represented in council, and that is true. Because the WDC is not going to council. And secondly, the WDC, where is its function? Where have we seen the WDC in London Corner on community participation or rehabilitation or whatever? It's not there. This is why I want to vie for this position. When I am National Assembly member, that WDC, I'll make sure...
It is dormant?
Yes, it's dormant. It's dormant. I haven't seen anything that they do. The roads are all there, very bad. So where is WDC? Because you don't need the bureaucrats. You don't have money, you bring them there to be committee members. It wouldn't work because they don't even have time to come and attend meetings. You need people who are down to heart, ready to do service, to be there. But the WDC is not functional. It's not working. I haven't seen anything like that done there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Savage. Just